I dared, but now will I be delighted with this mystery box? Hey there, today I have an unboxing video, and in this video I'm going to open up a mystery box from Dark Dominion Comics. Now, this was something that was brought to my attention, that Dark Dominion would be doing a mystery box, and the mystery box is titled January 2023 20 Comic Mystery Bundle. So I hope that maybe this could be a monthly thing for Dark Dominion Comics. And I have an affiliation with them where Dark Dominion Comics donates a prize for my channel members every month, where I randomly select a channel member to win a prize, and that prize is donated by Dark Dominion, and they ship that prize out to the winning channel member. But I am a customer of Dark Dominion Comics, and so I just want to make that clear. I purchased this completely myself. I am a fan of theirs. I'm a very, very happy customer. In fact, in my ledger stats for stores, they just overtook Things from Another World for me in terms of average grade of the comic and the chance to get a 9.8. Things from Another World and Dark Dominion Comics, for me personally, are the most consistent online sellers in terms of getting high quality, high grade, brand new comic books shipped safely and securely to you. So I just want to make that clear. I know a lot of people get perks, or you kind of wonder, people are putting store exclusives on their online streaming platform and trying to sell them and flip them, and who knows who's contractually obligated. This is simply a wonderful collaboration I have with Dark Dominion Comics and nothing more. I continue to be a very happy customer of theirs. And I was really, really excited to hear when this new offering of theirs came out. And I have no idea what is inside the mystery box, but let me tell you why I decided to go ahead and make the purchase. The way this was advertised is that the mystery box contains at least 20 comic books, and the breakdown is 5 ratios plus 15 raw. So I assume at least 5 1 in 10 books, or 1 in 25. I don't know. It could be 1 in 50s or 1 in 100s. I'm not exactly sure. I would expect it probably to be maybe 4 1 in 10s and maybe a 1 in 25. 15 raw books, and then at least one pull from the cool pool. And there was an image that Dark Dominion had put together where it listed all of the books that they had put aside in this pool of books that they would be selecting from. And I looked at all of them and I thought, yeah, they're all very cool. They're all worth owning for sure. And then additionally, as an existing customer, Dark Dominion was going to put one additional book from the pool into each mystery box if you had ordered from them before. So if you were a new customer, maybe just buying the mystery box for the first time, you were going to get the 20 comic books plus the one sort of mystery prize pull. And if you're an existing customer and you bought the mystery box, you'd get a bonus pull out of the pool. Now, the other thing for me, I know I'm kind of weird in this way, but the shipping was included. So I'm always a sucker for free shipping on these things. And I know sometimes prices get inflated and then it says free shipping. And I'm well aware of that, but there's something about the fact that I could get comic books mailed to me without having to pay additional money for shipping. And when I'm looking at this mystery box, it's a pretty significant box when you're talking about 20-ish comic books being sent to you. It's kind of an oversized package. So here's the plan. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm certainly always curious to know, how do you feel about mystery boxes? I really ride the fence, but I do lean towards mystery boxes not being a good idea. I'm sure there are very good mystery box or subscription services out there, but I do feel in general it is a way for stores to unload backstock. I also have a theory that over time, mystery boxes get worse. I think that there's an initial, all right, here is kind of the general selection of books that you'll be getting, whether it's a monthly subscription or some sort of timed mystery box offering, or maybe there's a limited quantity, like there's 1,000 available, and as soon as the 1,000 are out, there's no more, so it's limited. Who knows? However, it's marketed. But I will give you one example. Early on, when I started the channel, I was going through and creating videos around boxed heroes. Originally, my first few boxed heroes mystery boxes were great. It was a really nice selection of, like, I was getting a Silver Age book, a Bronze Age book, and then I would say maybe 6 or 7 brand new releases. There'd be like a subscription only variant, not a store exclusive, but just an additional variant that they would put in there if you were a regular subscriber. And then there was a chance for a prize. And I want to say with my second mystery box, I won a prize. I won a Signature Series 9.8 of Spider-Gwen #1. So I was hooked, right? I won a prize, and then I was hooked on the mystery box service. And what I noticed is that over time, I received more new releases, fewer older books, and then the couple of older books I got, they were like reader copies. They were really beat up. And I ended up really only winning a prize, I think, one more time. I won X-Men 244, the first Jubilee, and I was very excited and took it out of the mystery box and opened it up, and it was about like maybe a VF or a VF minus. So while I was excited to win the prize, the condition that the book was in was like, okay, I could have just bought that book at that condition instead of buying the mystery box. I think it would have been actually cheaper to do so. So that's where I don't really know exactly how to feel about the mystery boxes in general. Like I said, I'm sure there's lots of great subscription services out there. And I think that they are good if you are maybe not necessarily new to the hobby, but maybe if you're starting out, or you're starting to maybe start a new segment of your collection. So maybe you have your keys and your grails and other books kind of locked away, and then you've got like new modern books or recently acquired books that maybe you want to press and clean. And if you separate your collection out in that way, and you want to get some additional inventory at a discount, I think that mystery boxes are great for that. If you're also looking for time savings when selecting and researching and picking out comics, a lot of these services act almost like a concierge service, right? Where they're kind of picking what they think are maybe the best books of the week, or maybe popular books. And that's kind of the way I think that Boxed Heroes ended up becoming, which was more of like, hey, I think these 3 or 4 books are going to be significant going forward, so I included that. But then there were 3 or 4 books that I felt like would still be on the shelves today if I were out looking for them. So I am particularly interested to see how this ends up working out. So the question I'm going to be kind of asking myself is it really a bundle of great comic books that are popular and well known and would be considered maybe hot or desirable in some way? Or does it look more like books that couldn't be sold, and these are just being bundled blindly and packaged in a certain way to move the stock? Now, it's time to open the mystery box and see certainly how it was packaged and what comics I received out of the mystery box. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a moment and itemize everything that I got in the mystery box, compare those items against fair market value like I would any other order, and then you can see, was it worth it? Was it worth getting the books that I did compared to fair market value? And then certainly if I were to get some of the books graded, what does the value look like there? And the point there is to really just look at the individual books, compare them to fair market value, and see, is it worth it? You have to first compare the values, the costs and all of that, and say, okay, did I get a good deal if I were to buy these books? But then you also want to ask yourself the honest question, would you buy these books? So a lot of questions here, a lot of mysteries to be solved. Let's open up this mystery box from Dark Dominion Comics. All right, here we go. This is the box that I received from Dark Dominion Comics, sent USPS priority mail. The mystery box cost $125 and shipping and handling was included, so I did not have to pay anything extra to receive the mystery box. And now it's time to get this thing opened up. All right, here we go. Here are the comics sent in a Gemini comic supply mailer. This is typical of what Dark Dominion uses when you're doing your pre-orders or sending out any books of any sort of large quantity. They'll break these up into these really, really sturdy Gemini mailers. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Sometimes subscription services, they'll have like a branded or a special box for their mystery boxes. So I imagine these are just going to be regular old comic books in here. And here we go. So yeah, same experience as if I was just kind of ordering from the website. All right. So I'll just start taking these out as best I can. And first book we've got is Black Adam #2. And I don't know if I have commentary on all of these books. So for this example right here, I don't collect Black Adam. So this would right off the bat be a book that I would not have purchased on my own. All right, next up, I think this is Batman 125. I believe this is the acetate cover by Simone DeMeo. All right, very interesting here. This next book, this is The Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, #3. This was a book that last month certainly was generating some hype. So definitely considered to be a book that was well sought after. And I actually just missed this. I did not pre-order it. So happy to add this one. That's very cool. Next up is Star Wars 30 variant cover. Then we've got Amazing Spider-Man #14. This is the first appearance of Hallows' Eve. Next, Predator #1. This is the Ryan Brown variant cover. All right, next up is, I think this is an incentive. I think this is Grimm #3. I think it's a 1 in 10. Spider-Gwen, Gwenverse #1. Great cover by David Nakayama. Star Wars High Republic #2. Lock and Key #1. Lock and Key #2. And Lock and Key #3. Here's Lock and Key #4. Lock and Key #5. I've got all 6 issues here. Amazing Spider-Man #88. This is the first appearance of Queen Goblin. Another Amazing Spider-Man 88. This is the second print. And I believe this is Alien 1. I don't know if this is an incentive or not, but it is the full art ink variant for Alien 1. DC versus Vampire Killers. And there's the DC versus Vampires Killers, the Batman 423 McFarlane homage cover. Captain Carter #1. I'm only laughing because I've got a CGC 9.8 of this one and probably 5 or 6 other copies. Lots and lots of Captain Carter in my collection. Here is Devil's Reign Superior 4 #2 variant. Miles Morales Spider-Man #2 variant with Rabble on the cover. Hit Me #1 independent story from AWA with cover by Jeff DeCall. All right, then we've got Venom #5. Carnage #1. That's an awesome cover. And lastly, we've got Moon Knight #9. So there are the books. A nice mixture, I think, of I feel like I'll run the numbers here, but probably a mixture. I would say half and half, right? About half of these books I either would have ordered or I did order, and then another half where I'm like, I probably wouldn't have purchased those at all. But let me itemize these I'll take a moment, go through and figure out how many books I picked up out of the mystery box, assign a price to each one, and then compare each one to fair market value to see if it was worth it. All right, so here's what I did. I took each item that I received in the mystery box and assigned a $4.63 cost associated with it. I took the $125 and divided it by the total number of books that I received, as I felt like that was the only fair way to do it. And I do need to, I think, either apologize or explain, because certainly after the fact, after I went through each book carefully and looked it up online and itemized it here, I think I did really, really well. And I think my initial reaction was like, oh yeah, there's this book, there's that book. And I was passing over 1 in 25s and 1 in 10s. And especially my big win, which is right here in the middle of the order. I got Lock and Key issues 1 through 6 from 2008. So it was the full set. And when I was opening the mystery box, I thought that they were facsimiles, or it was like a updated story. They came out recently. I didn't quite really understand or realize what I was looking at the time. I was just kind of getting through the books. So I apologize to you, and I apologize to Dark Dominion Comics for not being more excited and enthusiastic, because Lock and Key #1, it's a key issue. It's a great story. It's an independent from IDW. I would argue, aside from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it might be one of the more famous storylines that is associated with IDW. So that is super cool to get all 6 books. Now, I haven't graded any of these books, but just from giving the books an initial assessment in the bag and board, everything that I received from Dark Dominion Comics looks to be in super, super high grade, as I would normally expect. That was one of my other concerns with the mystery boxes, that you're getting obviously a random assortment of comics, but also are they in lesser condition, where, yes, if they were mint, then they would have a particular value. But then a lot of times mystery box sellers, when they see a really, really good book in a lesser grade, they'll include it in the mystery box because it appears as if the book is some special prize that's enticing you to buy the mystery box. But then when you get it and it's a lower grade, kind of like I was talking about with the Boxed Heroes X-Men 244, the first Jubilee, when I was super excited to win the prize. Then I examined the condition. I was like, it's not as great as you would think, even though it is a key book. All of these books were, I would say, very, very typical of what you would expect to receive from Dark Dominion Comics in terms of the condition. So let me go through this order now that I have the data in more detail, because some of the books, like I said, the first one I think off the stack, Black Adam #2, I was like, oh, I don't collect Black Adam, and I just moved on. Now, as I look at it, you got a Simone DeMeo cover, but also that's a 1 in 25 first appearance of White Adam, which, again, it's not really a storyline or characters that I follow, but I certainly do follow value. And after inputting some of the information here into my ledger, things started to really stand out. So let me go over this in a bit more detail. The order for this mystery box was placed January 4th, 2023, and I paid $125. I rounded it to $125.01 just so I could get an even $4.63 per book. I did not pay anything for shipping and handling, and there was no tax. So really, really good deal to get all of these books. And I ended up receiving 27 comics in this order. So when you're thinking about the cost of a new release, maybe it's $3.99, maybe it's $4.99. I think $4.63 total, because again, a $3.99, $4.99 cover price plus shipping plus tax, it starts to get into the $5, $6 range. So for me, $4.63 total for each book is a fantastic deal. Plus I was getting incentives and the Lock and Key 1 through 6. What I ended up doing is I plugged in the fair market value as reported by cover price against the 27 books, and then compared that to the total cost, which for each book it was an even $4.63 for every book. And then looking at the raw value add, according to the numbers, this mystery box was a $192 value add into my collection. Now, to be fair, Lock and Key #1 was about 25 to 30% of that value add, as it has a fair market value of $58 raw by itself. And you can see here's issue 2 at 21, but this 6-issue run by itself was over $100 of fair market value comics that I got. So, getting a mystery box and having Lock and Key 1 through 6, was that worth the $125 by itself? It's debatable, maybe not, but it certainly was close. And then to get all of the books on top of that, I am much more excited about this now, and really would love to go back in time when I first opened it and be more excited and appreciative. So again, I apologize for my maybe lack of emotion or enthusiasm for opening it, because now I'm really, really excited when I look at these numbers and have a better, deeper understanding of what I received. Let's go through some of the other big wins. The Joker Man Who Stopped Laughing #3, where Joker is dressed up as Santa, that currently sits at around $27. I think that book has cooled off a little bit, but it wouldn't surprise me around the holidays of 2023 to see that book come back around on top 10 lists, where they're like, remember last year where I bought 20 copies of this to flip and I flipped 10, I'm ready to flip the next 10. Like, they're going to come back as speculators put these on their lists. So I think that's a good book to hold, or maybe consider grading in prep for the holiday season in 2023. Predator #1, that was another one where I was like, yeah, Predator, I don't buy that. That's a 1 in 25. It does have a less than ratio fair market value, but still $13 for that book. Moving up to the front of the order, we've got Captain Carter #1, still pretty decent, double cover price. That was cover A that I received. That was probably my second prize, if you will. That one being $11 of fair market value. DC versus Vampires Killers. I was more excited about the Todd McFarlane homage. That one is $5. The other one that I got was also a 1 in 25, and that has a fair market value of $18. A few others, and then we'll look at the CGC graded values. Here's Venom #5, $10. Amazing Spider-Man 88, the first Goblin Queen, that's just cover A, it was $11. And Star Wars The High Republic 2, that is the volume 2 of High Republic. That also was a 1 in 25 that has a fair market value currently of $14. So some of the ratios were not holding up in terms of having a fair market value that equals the ratio number, but still, even if they're halved, it was more than the 463 I paid for the book. So it all kind of worked out in that regard. So all of these raw values, most of them were wins, except for a few cover price books that have a fair market value of less than the 463, but not many. But I'm not surprised. Devil's Reign Superior 4 is $4. Hit Me #1, the Decal book from AWA, $4. ASM 88, the second print, $4. So there were a few that were maybe under what I paid, but again, overall, I'm just sort of nitpicking at this point. Now, most of these books, as you can see, came out in 2022, 2023, except for Lock and Key at 2008. But some of them do have reported sales in grades. And again, just to be fair, let's assume these are all near mint. We can't expect them to be 9/8. So if I plug in 9.4 for all of these books, let's see if any of them have a value in a 9.4. And if I were to add any potential graded value, and looks like there's not here. Again, Lock and Key #1 is going to skew these numbers. But for the most part, with these being newer books, 9.4s really aren't all that interesting. But Lock and Key #1 in a 9.4 is over $100 by itself. The rest of the Lock and Key books do not have a value in a 9.4. I think the more interesting one is to go ahead and see if these books have value in a 9.8. And most of the time when I do this, I say I don't expect all of these books to be a 9.8. And while this is still true for this order, I am way more likely to get 9.8s from Dark Dominion. With all of these being relatively new releases, I would expect them to all be 9.6s or 9.8s, with an occasional, maybe one or two would be 9.4. And now you could see these numbers really jump. And in column AB, a CGC potential value add of $578.74. And if you're thinking, well, there's that Lock and Key one that's carrying the order at 138, it's actually not necessarily carrying it, because many of the other books also have a lot of value in a 9.8. Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, #3 at $121.50. Grimm #3, the 10 copy, at $100. And I think that's because of the difficulty of getting that book in a high grade with the all black cover. Certainly some of the other Lock and Keys are now popping a bit. $80 for #5, $75 for #4. And then going back to the front of the mystery box order again, and $56 for Captain Carter #1. That one's really coming down. Alien #1, didn't have much of a fair market value raw, but $64.50 in a 9.8. And then the DC versus Vampires 1 in 25 at $77.50, and Amazing Spider-Man 88 cover A at $70. So really good numbers kind of across the board. A lot of these 9.8s in the $35 to $100 range. That added up very, very nicely here. And remember, this is a value add after the cost. So I'm getting my 125 back plus 578.74 of additional positive value being added to my collection. So I'm actually really quite thrilled. I almost said surprised, but the way that my orders have gone with Dark Dominion, I've been very, very happy, almost to the point where I'm like, this is too good to be true in terms of condition. When you're talking about value, it really depends on what you buy. I mean, you are making the decision to gamble essentially, when you're buying online, you're gambling on a mystery box. Absolutely, certainly. That's the biggest gamble of them all. But you're also gambling depending on where you get your books from, whether it's eBay and you've seen a scan, or you're buying from online stores sight unseen. There's always some risk involved. But when I found out that Dark Dominion was doing a mystery box, I just knew based on past experience that it was not going to be a collection of books that either were damaged books, like you see this sometimes on other online stores. Maybe they have like a subset of their books where it's like, I forget what they call them, but it's sort of like dinged and damaged or something like that. And then you can buy, new releases or incentives that are maybe closer to a VF because they've been damaged by the supplier or in transit or of some kind. And there are times where I see online stores doing mystery box. I'm like, are they just really trying to offload store exclusives that didn't sell, or just books in a lesser grade? The interesting thing about Dark Dominion Comics is they're not a store exclusive store, meaning they're not just pumping their own store exclusives in your face constantly and then trying to do some, buy three, get three free sort of situation. It's just an online retailer that delivers great high quality comics. So I did feel like when I heard about the mystery box offering, I mean, I didn't really even hesitate, just because I felt like the risk would be low. And if I'm getting around 25 books, I just did the quick math and figured, okay, even if it's 25 brand new releases, it's $5 a book. They're probably going to be in high grade. And that's how it turned out. So Dark Dominion Comics, once again, very impressed with this. Love your service. I'm really looking forward to grading all of these books and assigning 9/8 to as many of these as I can. Really interested in the Lock and Key set. It was very cool to get all 6 of the issues from the original 2008 series. I swear when I opened, I was like, these must be facsimiles. And I just kind of glanced at them and went on. And I still feel bad about my initial reaction. But I'm very, very happy now with this. And I would keep an eye on Dark Dominion Comics to see if they will end up doing this again. Because if this becomes a monthly thing, I think that I'm probably going to participate. This was a really, really great experience. And mystery box or not, I highly recommend checking them out for any of your pre-ordering, new comic book day purchases, or any other great back issues of recently released comics. Thanks for watching, happy collecting, and see you next time.